Hello, thank you for joining me today with another creative session of Sketch with Jess. If this is the first time hanging out with me, I'm Jesse T, a creative professional, and my studio is located in North New Jersey, and I've been a creative professional off and on 20 plus years, working with private and corporate clients in various creative capacities. I welcome repeat viewers and all new viewers that found my channel and or content. So very much appreciated. Please feel free to post questions or comments. All questions not addressed in the video will be answered as soon as possible. As I mentioned in my other videos, these sessions are free-flowing, off-the-cuff creativity. Nothing is planned out. I turn on my camera and I let the art flow. I'm starting this session using masking on a sphere with a little software package, 3D sculpting package called SculptGL. I use this to start off before I bring it into ZBrush because it's very small, it's very fast, and I just want to have the basics utilized, not to be inundated with all the fancy tools that ZBrush offers. So I just use SculptGL, which is a free software. You can download it onto your desktop from SculptGL website. The link is provided on my channel. So that being said, that's why I'm using SculptGL. It just gives me the basics. It just kind of keeps me focused on not getting carried away too quickly. I'm using a masking technique to basically pull out some shapes. You probably heard this many times from other 3D digital sculptors. We basically look for interesting shapes to work with. So that's what I'm doing right now. It is speeded up just for time. Okay, what I'm doing right here, I'm going to pull out some shapes after I sketched it onto the sphere. Was a few, didn't know if this was actually going to work, keeping the mask on, and stretched the mesh so much in an effort to basically see what happens, to see if something interesting happens. And so with this happy accident, I did get some really cool shapes to work with, and it basically turned into some type of spacecraft. So I just kept improving upon it as I decided to take this journey into a creative unknown, not knowing if this was going to be a complete disaster and I would have to go into a different direction, or if this is going to be one of those what us artists call a happy accident. So I think it ended up, I did improve upon, stated videos into tunnel vision, do get quiet, and I just, for a while, these sessions. Any questions, please engage. It's not a problem. You can just post your questions in the comments. I will get to them as soon as possible. Any questions regarding what I'm doing here? What's going through my mind right now is my mind basically is some type of sea animal. Thinking about, I think it's in my mind. I think I got a dolphin in my mind because the front of this of the shapes looks like a porpoise. So apparently, I have some type of dolphin shape image going through my head, right? These things times just come out. I actually, they're very sleek type of animal, and they just glide through the water. So I guess in my unconscious, that's kind of coming out in this particular image that I'm working with here. This is the 3D sketch. So now I pulled out some shapes that I think I want to improve upon. I'm just twisting and turning and seeing what I want to work with, basically. Now I'm just smoothing out the shapes just to get a better visual on what direction I want to go with and improve upon. The image that I'm working with right here, it may look detailed, and I stated that I use SculptGL because I don't want to go into a lot of detail. The detail basically happened from the sketching I did with the masking technique on the sphere. Okay, this is all from one sphere. Okay, and it's all the detail is from the sketching I did on that sphere with the masking technique. That's how I'm getting all these details. I'm not sculpting these details in. I just sketched it onto the sphere and pulled them out. And right now I'm just lightly smoothing because I don't want to destroy anything that I want to keep and I find interesting. I'm going to go as far as I can within the SculptGL app. Then I'm going to take it into ZBrush. I'm not going to go crazy with it when I bring it to ZBrush, but I'm going to clean it up a little bit more, make it a little more refined. Not going to go crazy. You'll see that in the finished 3D sketch. And then I'm going to render it, and I'm going to render it with the new ZBrush. I think it's 2019 ZBrush version. It has the NPR non-photorealistic rendering, and I personally like it because I like to see the sculpts in different 2D type renderings, and I find it quite interesting. I really like it a lot. I watch some other 3D artists doing their work, and some of them don't like it at all. They're like, why do we need an NPR? You know, but I like the non-photorealistic rendering with the 2019 ZBrush version and up. I think it's pretty cool. It's just my personal take on it. Okay, what I'm doing here, I'm just adding in another simple shape, the torus shape. Some people call it the donut. Now, again, I'm going to use the same technique of sketching with the mask onto the shape. Sketching a design, just seeing how it flow. And I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to pull out some more shapes with this simple torus shape here, and add it on to the other shape. So basically I'm just using two simple shapes, sketching it on with the masking technique, and then pushing and pulling and looking for interesting shapes to improve upon. I really like this technique because it's pretty fast, and you can pretty much create any kind of 3D asset fairly quickly, whether it's a spaceship or a creature, bot, android. With this technique, you can go extremely far with your sculpts, because after you get your shapes down and you pull them out and you refine it, and then you bring it into ZBrush, and as we all know, you can just go crazy with detail and kit bashing and so forth and so on with ZBrush. I see some other artists' works, and it's just amazing how far they go with the detail. Sometimes it seems, it's my opinion, the detail is just way over the top and unnecessary. It's like they just get into this zone and they just throw everything they can possibly throw into their piece, and it just I, it looks cool. Some parts of it looks really cool, but some parts of the designs just don't make sense at all. It's just, but it's that's what happens when you can just really get carried away with ZBrush and all of its tools and all of its awesomeness. You see, so I really I really try to refrain from just throwing everything in to my pieces. I try to scale it back and just not go crazy with detail. I try to find a happy midpoint with my pieces. I do have to mention there is a downside, I guess you would say, to this technique, stretching out the mesh like this, because what happens is when you bring it into ZBrush, there are certain limitations that you will notice when you try to put in certain details using this technique. So if you plan ahead, I would say, don't think ahead, and limit your detail if you doing the same exact workflow that I'm doing using a smaller program than going into an industry standard program. You want to keep that in mind to make, if you want to go and do some hard surface sculpting, you need to keep in mind that you really shouldn't stretch your mesh so much, because you will run into problems if you try to do other techniques when you take it and bring it back into when you bring it into ZBrush. You will run into problems with this technique regarding certain types of detail. But if you're just going to let's say kit bash, when you bring it into ZBrush, like you refine it a little bit more and you do some kit bash, then you're good. You know. The cool, another cool thing about this technique and workflow is that the speed of it. Once you get the hang of it, it's very quick. The, the the complete concept of this ship is basically about 30 minutes. Okay, and when I bring it into ZBrush, I only spent maybe 10 to 15 extra minutes just doing some refining. And then I just started playing around with different non-realistic renderings and settings to get the look that I wanted. And the look that I wanted to achieve was kind of, I would say, a comic book type look, like a sleek comic book, borderline maybe anime-ish type look with the NPR. So I'm not including the time I spent fiddling with the settings to get the particular look I was looking for. But the overall concept of the ship was like 35 minutes. Okay, so that's not bad. And I could have probably done it even faster if I wasn't trying to do it in a type of narration tutorial type way. You know, if I just, from just did it, not just, yeah, right here, I'm just trying to make it look more sleek. Little, trying to make it like really interesting. And oh, another thing is that with this technique, because it's done so quickly, you can make a whole lot of different iterations of your concept of your designs, and that's another that's why I really like this technique, and I've been working with this technique and trying to refine it as much as possible. I actually started using this technique when I started getting clients who I needed to show them something really quickly, so and so I was going crazy trying to learn the ins and outs of hard surface sculpting, which is to me a little more technical than I care for, honestly. I watched these other artists, these hard surface artists, and the poly groups and all that stuff, and yeah, it's just, yeah, I didn't take to that, all memorizing all those settings and shortcuts and things of that sort. I just I didn't take to it too well. I'd rather just brute force some of my hard surface sculpting, or I guess maybe it's called faking it. Maybe I don't know. As I'm designing this other part of the ship, I'm thinking about the overall cohesion of both pieces to make sure that it's looking like it's all together. That's why I keep twisting and turning it around. And I think the magic really happens when I start, when I do the smoothing, the slight smoothing part of the technique. Because then a lot of things just start to kind of pop out, and it gives me a lots of possibilities. We're coming close to the completion of this concept. Can't really take it too much further in SculptGL. Just doing a little bit of pinching right here. And I don't know if I said it already, but this is absolutely no reference. This is just all off the cuff. Just what happens, happens. Yes, we are about to call this a wrap. Any artifacts will be taken care of when I bring it into ZBrush to do all the to do a few more touch-ups. Not going to go crazy when I take it into ZBrush, just a little bit of refining. Okay, but what you see here is the overall concept for this spaceship. And so this is going to be the ending. We're coming to the end. I did take it into ZBrush and I did refine it. And I did the NPR, non-photorealistic rendering. And I also worked with shaders as well to give it a certain look that I wanted for this concept. And I made a little, I did some screenshots of it and a little video of the finished concept as well. It is here on my channel. Check it out. It's only a minute. And yeah, so stay safe and God bless and keep creating. And please subscribe and turn on notifications. Okay? Take care, everybody.